Whoa, almost didn't make it there, Stream Elements. MultimediaJay is now live, streaming talk shows and podcasts. Popped up right before the end of the intro song. Yeah. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, coming back to Twitch again. The heck's going on? I'm in the middle of a big experiment. I was doing some experimenting with Slobs last night, Streamlabs OBS. It's a bit of a punch in the face to have to start over with learning how a stream broadcasting type program works like that. But I'm actually legit curious if I can get to the place where I can stream on Twitch with regular OBS and use Slobs for YouTube, because Slobs actually has the same integration as with YouTube that regular OBS does with Twitch. So one of the things that I'd like to see, I'd like to be able to just flip between my Stream Elements settings I'd like to be able to flip everything around between YouTube and Twitch just by changing programs. The problem is that I'm not really impressed with Slobs. I think it's too much like old school, if you remember Winamp. Of course, I use Winamp. I use a specific skin of Winamp so it doesn't look like Winamp whenever I'm playing background music, particularly on YouTube. And so, if you remember some of the older Winamp skins, or you've ever played around with an old copy of Winamp somewhere, there were some skins that were looks over practicality. And yeah, it was cool to have like a giant slime ball for your MP3 player back in the day. But then when you had to click through to some fancier settings like EQ or something, it would take too many clicks or something. It would just be too cumbersome to use. It's basically looks over practicality, and you'd long for something simpler. Basically, by the time Winamp was past its prime and I was using it the most in college, I basically kept it on that Winamp 3 like rounded media player just about all the time. I basically had outgrown the whole idea of skins. The only reason I'm even using Winamp skins is that way I fire up Winamp and it looks like some blue thing that doesn't look like I'm running Winamp. It looks like a stream add-on, even though it says Winamp when I first started up. But here we are. If I want to play Silent Partners Hollywood High, it's right there on the screen, and it looks like it's some kind of element of the stream instead of Winamp, because of the skin that I've chosen. I think it's the Trance Amp, actually. This is the one that I'm using. I don't know if it has customizable colors or anything. So I stream on both Twitch and YouTube, and I do different stuff on different platforms. The discussions that I've been having on Twitch are incredibly Twitch specific, plus I want to have some VODs and also highlights created from the VODs to kind of circulate through whatever Twitch has for Evergreen support, which I know is a lot less than YouTube. I eventually want to try the upload feature again too, because now that I've gotten Twitch affiliate, I can use the button again. And the interesting thing is, the Twitch affiliate agreement, known for its stuffy exclusivity clause, among other things, applies that exclusivity to live stuff. There is no mention whatsoever of uploads. So I'm thinking, take stuff from YouTube and upload it again on Twitch for the people on Twitch that don't ever bother with YouTube. I'm guessing it might be a lot less than people on YouTube that don't bother with Twitch. But I'm telling you right now, I already do stuff in the other direction. It's one of the reasons why I've been modifying the setup that I have and the format that I have to do more hybrid streaming. Speaking of streaming, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Stream growth, never forget the weaknesses of live streaming. Exactly the kind of title that'll get somebody to flame me for talking about growth in the first place as a rinky-dink, barely a Twitch affiliate with 3 concurrents, maybe. And a YouTuber with a sleeper channel where my more recent stuff doesn't do very well. But once you go back about 6 months, you start seeing the views start to pick up and look a little more decent for a channel of my size. So it's just a matter of, I understand YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. And so I design things specifically to be less time sensitive. It's also the key reason why I do hybrid streaming on here, which is these kinds of streams where I talk like a radio guy. I might turn off the alerts and stuff and go over them at the end of the show or something like that. But what I'm going to do, basically, see if resume alerts populates if someone does an alert while I'm actually doing the show here. So, yeah, I sound more like a radio guy. Of course, I sound like a radio guy by default. So, just having a little bit of fun with this. But the other reason why I do this hybrid streaming is because, hey, hardly any concurrence, whoop-de-doo. Make a YouTube video out of it and have it be something that's actually watchable, unlike, for example, the 7-hour VOD that your Twitch streamer who won't be bothered to edit anything despite YouTube's cloud editor is going to barf onto YouTube tomorrow or something like that because they're afraid of DMCA. I was actually introduced this afternoon to JCG's VOD channel on YouTube thanks to the algorithms. So the algorithms introduced me to her main channel. Oh, look, another... actually, no. I was introduced to her channel because of collabs and stuff. I'm getting her mixed up with somebody else. But there's somebody else who is one of those VOD barfers who sends the VOD over because of DMCA that I was introduced to their VOD channel largely because of DMCA. But anyways, let's get to some discussions here about this. Why am I talking about this? Because the key thing I want people to remember is to never forget the weaknesses of live streaming. We have this entire narrative with all of these commentators out there doing these YouTube videos about growing your stream. If you follow any of it, you probably have the piece of advice that they send all around the circuit memorized by now. Make YouTube videos and bring your audience to your streams. But here's something I don't think a lot of people really want to think about or talk about. Maybe it gives them a headache, or maybe it kind of undercuts what they think of themselves if they think they're going to be a big streamer without actually realizing what the big streamers have actually going on. The fact is, the big streamers make it look easy. There are reasons why they stay successful. If they didn't have those, they would have had a 15 minutes of fame when they had a lucky host or something, or a lucky raid, or some kind of exposure, but then people would have just left. We see this with some streamers who aren't as big now, who had big breaks and then everything died afterwards. We were looking at some Sully Gnome numbers yesterday about some people that have actually gone through exactly this. But another element of all of this that we need to talk about is this. The big streamer who looks successful to you has the same problems you do, just with bigger numbers. You may get a bunch of followers, people clicking follow on Twitch, whoop-de-doo, they clicked a button, just like YouTube subscribers. Now on YouTube, the longer your channel is, but it doesn't mean anything in terms of your audience or whether you'll even have one. Plus, Twitch has an infamous bot problem where bots go around following and follow-botting people and things along those lines. So, any audience ratios you try to crunch could have an inflated follower number to begin with because Twitch has a persistent problem with bots. Aside from all of that, and I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Twitch allows bots for things like Nightbot, Streamlabs, Stream Elements. Services use bots, but at the same time there's random bots going around for whatever reason, and some bot services actually advertise by showing up in your chat. MooBot is one of them. So I've seen MooBot a couple of times. I actually tried MooBot, didn't really like it too much, so disabled the mod access. But yeah, there's a bot problem too on Twitch. So Twitch actually works on blocking out the bots so they don't affect your concurrent viewers. But at the same time, if you behave a certain way, it's possible for the system to think you're some kind of bot. I don't know what the criteria is for that, but if it's programmed into an algorithm, it can generate false positives. Ask any YouTuber about that and how much trouble that's caused on YouTube. Bigger platform though it is. But yes, the thing we have to remember with regards to streaming is, first off, live streaming has its limitations. Second, the big streamers who look successful probably have the same problems you do, just with bigger numbers involved. And one of them is the audience ratio. The difference between your supposed audience and who's actually watching. Now, he mentioned the growing gap between subs and viewers on YouTube, a long-running problem on the platform. I've been complaining about it for years before I smartened up and realized some of that is something that I can't control, and it's something that's going to happen anyways, just because people are people. Here's a great example. In all my years of complaining and being concerned about this, I forgot that I actually have firsthand experience of just how incredibly conservative YouTube is with deleting inactive YouTube accounts. There was one time, there was a guy I was subscribed to. He was a hillbilly type. He did videos of tinkering with pickup trucks and stuff like that, and then jumping them off like hills on his property and stuff like that. Sometimes he wound up not making videos for a while because he injured himself with some of his stunts. But one of the big things I remember from this, obviously, K Kona W, as the Twitch people would say, YouTube channel, is that he was out doing pickup truck videos, stuff like that. So there was one day when he was doing his usual stuff, and people were messing with him in the comments sections. And so I made a sock puppet account with some hillbilly name on it, and I contributed to the fun. Everyone was laughing and joking and telling hillbilly jokes, yeehaw country and stuff like that. They had that vibe going in the comment sections, and it was all in good fun. But that was the only time I ever used that account. So life moved on. I kept doing stuff with the MultimediaJay account, or Jay Silverton, or something like that. I kept moving forward with all of that stuff. One day I get a random email from YouTube because they're about to shut the account down because it's been inactive for a couple of years. So you have a situation where somebody loses a password. That is an inactive subscriber that's going to take years to get removed from your subscriber count. That's the kind of timetables we're talking about here. That's the kind of timetable we're talking about here. So with the systems being that careful to not blow away the accounts of people that might only use YouTube once in a great while, then why wouldn't you end up with inactive subscribers just under normal conditions? I can tell you one of the infamous examples I bring up with my own family. One of my aunts, not very tech savvy, she's been through like 3 Facebook accounts in the last like 2 years or something. And the one that she last used, I think, has been compromised because I've been getting spam links from it, so I put it on the restricted list. Why? She's terrible with computers, and she keeps losing passwords, or she keeps using terrible passwords that people brute force into after several months. So, it's a security thing. Really basic computer security, but if someone's not good with computers, and you don't have things like those annoying password requirements, you leave yourself prone to this stuff. I'm going to multiply that by however many people may be watching you on YouTube that aren't exactly the best with technology, and it's easy to see why there'll be a growing gap between subs and viewers, and that's on an Evergreen platform. What do you need to get views on an Evergreen platform? You need to make content and upload it, then the systems need to pass it around, unlike all those infamous incidents where YouTube doesn't send notifications to your subscribers like they're supposed to. And then there's the wrangling and fighting with the algorithm of, okay, subscribe to my channel. Oh, no, wait. Subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Oh, no, wait. Subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and be sure to select all notifications to let YouTube systems know you really, really, really want to see my content. Even though you clicked the subscribe button because you wanted to see my content. Whatever, YouTube. Yeah, so, like I say, technology can be the middleman that shuts off your audience for whatever reason. Even a technical glitch. So yeah, you always got to think about the technology side of this. And that's on an Evergreen platform. So you need to have stuff there. People need to watch it because the algorithm lets them know it's there. They search for it or something like that, and it shows up in the search results. Another thing that YouTubers complain about is if they can't figure out how to make their stuff show up. So if people search for it, You don't want to have like a giant tutorial on how to find a certain video on your channel about a certain topic. So yeah, that's for an Evergreen platform. Now, when you start talking live, on top of all of that, on top of needing to have content, the algorithms need to let people know it's there. People need to actually be able to find it and watch it. Now you're talking about stuff that's tied to a time slot. Are people available to watch when you're broadcasting? Things like that. And then, the key reason why I talk about hybrid streaming versus hangout streaming and why I emphasize the living daylights out of the fact that what I'm doing right now is hybrid streaming. It is meant to be watchable after the fact as a YouTube video. User-based conditioning. User-based training. Whatever behavior, whatever word you want to use to describe the way people have been conditioned to behave. Because of the high prevalence of personality streaming, the success of Twitch's marketing, and the high prevalence of hangout streaming, less organized, less show flow, not as worth watching after the fact, People are conditioned to think that watching a stream after the fact is terrible compared to watching it live. So no matter how much effort you put in to putting on a good show that people can watch live and after the fact, you're going to struggle because of the way people's brains have essentially been programmed by Twitch marketing, as well as popular so-called wisdom out there on how to stream and how streaming works. Popular wisdom that gets destroyed very quickly when you get out of Twitch land and you look at, for example, streaming on YouTube, or you watch live streams on YouTube instead of Twitch, and you get away from all this stuff, and you go to a platform where streaming is kept in its context as an extension of what you're already doing, which is reflected in a lot of YouTube's own programs, like the monetization program. The monetization program, for example, is channel memberships. So people decide whether there's value in both your videos and your streams before they pay the blah blah a month, whatever you set for the tiers. Major difference versus a Twitch sub, where Twitch focuses almost entirely on live streaming, and this colors everything. The experience, what you think of streaming, and what people say about streaming. But no matter how much people get manipulated by this, you still have the limitations of live streaming to think about. Live streaming adds extra baggage on top of the problems you already have on a video platform like YouTube. And that's why I say, these people who are out there that are trying to get you obsessed with stream growth, or even calling yourself a streamer in the first place, are barking you up the wrong tree. A lot of Twitch's success has been due to YouTube's failures, let's be blunt. The advertising setup, demonetization, the adpocalypse, how they handled COPPA. There are a lot of reasons for people to be angry about YouTube and go storming off to Twitch. And at the same time, Twitch was expanding the platform away from the generic game streaming. They dialed it back a bit, though, when uploads got walled behind Twitch affiliate. But even now, there really isn't enough of an emphasis on video on Twitch to really start to get competitive as of yet. If Twitch worked on this, that would be a great thing. Just like how if they worked on something like Content ID, that would be a great thing as well. Because the effect of it on YouTube is that it gives a compelling business reason for, say, the RIAA to monetize videos instead of filing DMCA takedowns. So, okay, you used my song, pay up. Instead of DMCA strike, now the government's involved. Mentioned this before on a lot of YouTube streams. Most of the DMCAing that I see on YouTube is people abusing the system to silence criticism. You don't see things like the RIAA doing that kind of stuff, because why should they? There's an automated system that matches and looks for Content ID type stuff, and then sends you revenue. It's easy money, you know? The only way to improve that system is to make it proportionate, which I think YouTube will be forced to do as streaming becomes more of a thing on YouTube, and you have more instances of angry creators who have an 8-hour stream get its monetization get redirected because of a 3-minute song. I'm just waiting for that to happen and for YouTube to finally cave and take Content ID in that direction. But given the positive effect of Content ID on things like rights management and stuff like that, I would love to see it expanded to where creators had more options besides DMCA in terms of demonetizing instead of sending strikes. And I think YouTube is doing some of this on their end too. We talked yesterday about how the latest front in the war against clickbait on YouTube is that all caps titles are now subject to demonetization, right in their own help documents. I think that's something we're going to see more of from YouTube, where they try and get away from kicking creators off the platform if they can help it, to just demonetizing to encourage people to do things another way, or to make different kinds of content, or to not upload certain things to YouTube. I think it'd be better if, stuff that doesn't rise to the level of, we got to give this guy a strike, if there was an alternative to that for more minor things. Or things that creators might think is minor. Like if they're walking through a convenience store, and there's a Taylor Swift song playing over the PA that gets flagged by Content ID or something. So, all a work in progress as usual. But never forget, though, no matter where you go, weaknesses of live streaming are in play. And I'm not just talking about the IRL streamers being prone to stuff that happens because you're live, whereas the daily vloggers editing videos together of their daily whatever, and then maybe using the Premiere feature on YouTube to play it to a live audience at premiere time, and have like a live interaction with the content creator then. Something I should be seeing more from the daily vloggers if anybody's still using that format. That would be best of both worlds, actually. You avoid situations like getting accidentally doxxed or something because you can edit that out of the video. You can blur out sensitive information, blah, 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 through the YouTube cloud editor if need be, and then premiere the video with your audience. And like, here was my trip to this park or something. The kinds of stuff that daily vloggers make videos about. But now they can get a little bit of the stream experience. The only thing they're missing there is the whole thing where chat kind of directs the stream through TTS or something along those lines. That's what's missing. So it's not the same, but it has its ups and downs just like any other format. Either way, stream growth. Never forget the weaknesses of live streaming. The big point I want to make is that many of these big successful streamers probably have the same problems you do. They just have bigger numbers attached to them. I was thinking about this with regards to all the crying about growing your stream, and that's why I'm mentioning stream growth in the title, because I want to call attention to this. Live streaming has its weaknesses because it's live. It's in play no matter what it is you do. If you're streaming, bada bing. And if you call yourself a streamer, you are deciding to focus on this format live that has all those extra weaknesses compared to making videos. And in some sense, there's a corporate element to it as well, where Twitch has decided to focus almost entirely on live, and that colors everything, and that affects how you view streaming, perhaps how you view yourself, and it doesn't need to be that way. Let's begin with looking at a few things in Firefox here. Been playing around with some things related to... Where is that? Been playing around with some things. We don't need the calculator yet. What am I doing? Da-ding! So, over on YouTube, made some changes with some of the new features that YouTube has rolled out. You can block playlists together, so now people watching my series can see when I last updated something to them once these updated things disappear from setting everything up. Just something new that's going on. Anyways, let's switch to the other browser. We're over on Twitch Tracker. Sully Gnome was down for maintenance when I went looking at this data the first time here a little while earlier. And that's when I found out that Twitch Tracker actually has this nice list of streamers with the most viewers and all kinds of numbers associated with this sort of thing. Now, we talked about the weaknesses of live streaming. There are issues, of course, with the size of your audience versus who watches with videos, and it is even more pronounced with streaming because of the limitations of live streaming, as well as the way people think about streams that makes them less likely to watch them after the fact. But when I started crunching some numbers on some of these successful streamers, I started to realize I started seeing the same stuff over and over again. Now, with the difference between views and subs on YouTube, it's usually the case like 5 to 10% of your audience will be watching your videos at any given moment. Why? We've given a couple of reasons why. Inactive accounts, for example. Accounts that people got locked out of. They're subbed to you, but if someone likes you and they sub to you on their new account, the sub on their old account is still there until the account gets removed. And that can take years. So it's too easy sometimes to read into trying to figure out why things are the way they are with these kinds of things. All right, streamers with the most viewers. We know that the Spanish streamers are going wild right now, like Oren Play and whatnot. Look at some of these numbers. So I guess what? Why is it not up to? Oh, come on, Twitch Tracker, you can do it. Oren Play. It's like, wow, that's some huge concurrence. And I go over and it's in Spanish. I'm like, okay. Then there's this guy who just made the news recently about that gigantic peak viewers thing. Yeah, 2 million concurrence, something related to Fortnite. And people said Fortnite was dying. Really now. All right, let's go back to English here, because I want to just mention some big names. Of course, this stream's in English, so more relatable, duh. But I want to look at some ratios here. People ratios. I know Twitch has a bot problem, but let's just have some fun here to keep everything consistent, even if it means the numbers are weirder than they otherwise would be. So let's look at the average concurrence. This is over 30 days versus their followers. And this is what we're going to need the calculator for. Load everything up. Does it pop back on the screen automatically? Yep. And I can just move it anywhere and it stays where it should be. And it stays someplace on the screen. Let's put it off to the left, but you're not going to see it. Good old OBS, baby. All right, let's see. Some names I recognize. XQC. 81,719 average concurrence divided by 7.43 million followers. 7,430,000 times 100. 1% of his audience is tuning in at any given moment. 1%. Remember that number, because that 1% turns up a lot. It's an event if it turns up, you know, if something higher turns up. Austin's show is one of those wild cards because Austin, I think, gets that streaming needs to be kept within its proper context. You don't need to stream all the time. If you're going to stream, though, do a live produced show like what he does with Lover Host and the other shows that he runs. 50819, 50,000 concurrents, but don't forget Austin with contestants that are usually streamers on his shows has a huge collab effect of audiences mingling and meeting each other. So that's why that probably has a lot to do with why we can put in 1,210,000 times 100. And he's one of the wild cards. It's not going to be like 1% of the audience watching, but still, we've gone from 1% of the audience watching to 4% of the audience watching, with a highly produced show with contestants and a lot of collab value. So yeah, how you feeling about 1% of your audience watching at any given time? Let's keep on going. Saikuno, name that rings a bell to me because of Among Us. 48,350 divided by 2, 530,000. 2.53 million followers times 100, 1.9%. Shroud down at the bottom. 46686 divided by 8.86 million, 8860000. Boom, times 100. 0.5% of Shroud's audience. That's the worst one we've seen yet. But again, yeah, I mean, 44,731 for Nick Merckx. First introduced to him via Fortnite. I was like, what the heck's this Fortnite game that all the kids are into? Because I'm old. 4,950,000. Boom. Times 100. 0.9%. Again, hanging out around that 1% mark. Bada bing. Asmongold recently went on stream break. 36,017 divided by 1,870,000 times the 100. 1.9%. So he's doing pretty well. And I've actually seen him average 40,000 for the most part. So divide that by the 187. He's been kind of floating around the 40,000 mark. So let's just run this through just for the heck of it. That would get him to 2% if he wasn't down to 36K or whatnot on average over 30 days. Next, let's go to page 2. Any other names that rep? Pokimane, of course! The queen of Twitch! Ha 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 34747 divided by 7,120,000. Boom, times 100. 0.4%. While we're at it, change browsers to Firefox, and let's check out the YouTube streamers that I have in these tabs. Valkyrae, basically YouTube Gaming's answer to Pokimane. We do still have the thing on the screen like it's supposed to be. Good. Now, 2.91 million subs on YouTube. Yeah, different number. I often see her streaming to 55,000 concurrents. She's often cited as one of the great examples of how Twitch streamers can really unlock more potential by wrapping themselves up in the technology of YouTube, but I think that because she's signed an exclusivity deal with YouTube, there might be some preference in the algorithms, because I see a lot of big YouTubers not doing anywhere near as well, despite having the perfect personality to be a streamer. 55,000 concurrents out of 2,910,000, because subscribers on YouTube are the equivalent of followers on Twitch, times 100. 1.8%. That's pretty nice. But again, this whole thing with 1% or 1 something percent. Now, a channel that is very, very different. Valkyrae is kind of like a YouTube answer to Pokimane. She's also a big, obviously, personality-based streamer. Let's go the exact opposite. This is the deer channel that I've been talking about. Brownville's food pantry for deer. Right now, or when I refresh this, there's 468 concurrents on the trough view, and I think it's raining in Maine, so there might not be as many people watching because the guy didn't fill the troughs up because troughs would spoil the oats. This is the channel I'm talking about. Guy in Maine has been feeding the deer to support the local wildlife population, and he has basically, you can hit join and become a member of this channel, pay a membership fee. That membership fee goes towards paying for the oats and the feed that feeds these deer. It's an interesting idea. The guy's made the news several times, apparently. Saw some YouTube videos about it. So the guy's made the news several times. He's been doing this for years to support the local wildlife population. But again, streaming without a streamer, one of the many, 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 many examples of wildlife cameras you can find on YouTube. A lot of them are run by explore.org. 468 concurrents, the equivalent of a moderately decent Twitch partner over on YouTube with no streamer. Divided by 29,300, only 29,000 subs. Times 100. 1.5%. So this deer cam actually has a higher percentage of its audience watching. It's also closer to nighttime right now. So let's refresh. What's it up to? Oh, 450. Okay, that's a good number. Close that out. Oh, I got Explore Oceans. I got a bunch of wildlife cameras in my side menu. Let's run that with 450 concurrents. Again, 450 concurrents watching deer. Divided by 29. Oh, they gained some. So 29,000. Whoops. 29,400 subs. Wasn't it at 30 earlier? Some more people have subbed. Times 100. 1.5%. And they're watching this. Oh, there's some deer that have showed up. Oh, ain't that nice? A little bit of fog on the lens. But again, no production value. Just a guy running cameras filming wildlife. The equivalent of a moderately decent streamer on Twitch. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the wonderful world of streaming without a streamer. Now let's get back to this, and let's go over to the other tab. Close Firefox. We are done with it. There's an incident on Twitter. You shall respect that name. Crashed OBS coming over, closing a browser. Ay, ay, ay. Well, the fun part is, because now that I know that Twitch has an editor that we can use, now that I know Twitch has an editor, do we have the right song, by the way? Yeah, we have the right song loaded, so I did remember to save before it crashed. All right, let's run the numbers on here too. Oh man, you shall respect that name when you talk about PewDiePie. Mr. YouTube himself. Twitch streamers drive themselves nuts thinking streaming is everything. 25012 divided by 108,000,000. This is from December. He was playing Demon Souls. Only getting 25,000 concurrents, the equivalent of a decent-sized streamer on Twitch, yes, with tons of subs. Times 100. We're getting into scientific notation now. 0.02%. Now, the key thing to remember with PewDiePie is the guy that has been all over the place in several different countries growing fan bases. If he's known all over the world, now you have time slots to think about. You have time zones to think about. So you have people in the EU, people in North America, people in Asia, people in anywhere there's internet. Sometimes they're better to watch for streaming than others, unless you've got that many devoted fans all around the globe who will stay up all hours of the night because that's when you're streaming. So, but this is an example of one of many examples I see on YouTube of moderate to big creators on YouTube that their concurrents when they stream are absolute rubbish. And you have to ask yourself, why? Well, the reason is live streaming is inherently limited. And the thing to remember with YouTube is that YouTube puts everything in perspective, or keeps everything in perspective, with live streaming as an extension of online media, not as a replacement for videos. So let's see, keep the stats on the screen for Twitch and OBS, and try not to crash OBS again. I don't want to see the not like this guy any more than necessary. So Pokimane, Queen of Twitch, run those numbers again. 34747 divided by 7120000, boom, times 100. around the 0.5% mark. How's Tim the Tatman doing? 31502 divided by 60100 6.1 million. So this. No, that's 60 million. Nope. Oh no, 6.01. 60100. Nope, that's not it either. Start over. 31502 divided by 601,000 and 6,010,000. That's what we're looking for. Times 100. 0.5%. Hassan. I hear lots of nice things about him with his political commentaries. 2976 divided by 101 million. So here, boom, times 100. Fires all those people up with his commentaries and gets 2.8% with his news commentaries and things like that. So that's good. Unless he's had a recent bot issue. Summit 28556 divided by 5760000. Boom. Times 100. 0.5%. So you see what you got all the 1%, 0.5%, 1%, 0.5%. It's an event if it's ever above 2% or above. And we don't even know if that's because of a recent wave of bots or something that haven't been purged from the system. See what I mean? You're talking a minuscule part of these people's audience is tuning in at any given moment because of the limitations of live streaming. So this happens with all these people, with all these numbers. What do you think it's going to be with your little 20 concurrent Twitch affiliate channel? That's the thing. What's your percent when your numbers are way smaller because you're a Twitch affiliate with only 20 concurrents? The people I see getting the angriest, by the way, on Twitter and starting arguments and stuff, not realizing that looking angry and argumentative like that actually damages how people view you and makes people not want to watch you as much. Because who wants grumpy friends that can't put on a show and get thrown off by every little thing? 1.42 million for Ludwig. So 1,420,000 times 100. 1.97%. That's good, considering what we've been seeing. Markiplier! Guy, competitor to PewDiePie at one point. YouTube guy making gaming videos for years, getting into streaming. He streams on Twitch? Why doesn't he just stream on YouTube? Either way, probably because his concurrence would be rubbish on YouTube, just like PewDiePie's, because YouTube is a wonderful place to see the limitations of live streaming. By putting your concurrence over on Twitch, you can be like, oh yeah, no growth on Twitch, da 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 da. But in reality, live streaming itself has a contributes to this problem. It's not just Twitch, it's the format. 24,710 divided by 1,850,000, 1.85 million times 100. 1.33%. Again, 1%. 1 point something percent. How about soda poppin'? 20961 divided by 5.88 million. 5,880,000. Boom. Times 100. 0.35%. Yikes. That's lower than 0.5%. Is there a bot issue going on, or I don't know. I don't really follow soda, so I don't have any idea about all this. Riot Games, Forcin'. Yeah. Hear his name mentioned a lot. 19,560 divided by 1,460,000. Boom. Times 100. 1.3%. GM Hikaru. Heard his name with chess and stuff. Or something. Or maybe it was D&D. I don't know. Divided by 830,000. Oh, this will be easier to punch in because we're below the million follower mark. 0.22 times 100. 2.2%. F Extra Life, the Elder Scrolls Online guy who runs that wonderful wiki. 17,921 divided by 567,000. Woo! Times 100. 3%. So now you're seeing maybe some better numbers on some of the smaller streamers, except, oh wait, there's Lily Pichu. 16,074 divided by 1,940,000. Times 100. 0.8%. So again, you got these minuscule... Now, Moon, heard the name a couple of times on Devin Nash's show. Have no idea about this streamer. I've heard Cash App a bunch of times too, but we'll skip that. 14,565 versus 101 1.01 million times 100. 1.44%. Can we get low enough to where we start seeing Ginny on here? We'll stop when we get to Ginny. Moist Critical, seen a lot of his seen his YouTube videos about some things, including his wonderful recent interview with Susan Wojcicki, who runs YouTube. Great to see Susan Wojcicki working on her image a little as an executive by being decent in interviews like that and whatnot. Let's see. Moist Critical, of course, go to YouTube to see that stuff. Moist Critical, 13,353 versus 2,270,000. Boom. Times 100. 0.5%. Mitch Jones. Haha. Controversy and everything. Mr. Controversy himself, at least according to Mizkif. 567,000. Boom. Times 100. 2%. He's actually doing really well with that sort of thing. Unless he has a bot problem. Tfue, 12,308 divided by 984 9.84 million times 100. 0.12%. Unless I screwed that up. Let's run that again. 12,308 divided by 984 9.84 million. That's 0.1%. But the whole point is we're kind of splitting hairs to go Greek, we'll skip him. Ninja, that guy. 11,853 divided by 16. This is probably gonna be awful. Yeah, scientific notation. 0.07%. And Mizkif is right next door. 11,826 divided by 966,000 followers. We're getting down to some of the streamers I watch now. We'll stop around, say, Ginny and whatnot, around 7,000 or so. Or we can keep going until we get to S-Fan. Just have some fun there. Times 100. 1.22%. Of course, he's really good at improv comedy, so that probably has something to do with it, even though he's largely a game streamer. I bet he can't wait to do more IRL, though. He's got a great personality for it. Twitch Sports, E-League. Now we're getting into, don't know who half of these people are. Clint Stevens, seen a couple of his streams when he was hosted. Trainwrecks! Mr. Squad W himself. 93, 69. And don't forget, that's inflated because of the Scuffed podcast on a regular basis. So a big collab contribution there. 113,000, 1.13 million. Times 100. 0.8%. Again, this 1% thing. It's just not going away. There's Ginny. Doing well because of S-Fan Ginny Season 2. Otherwise, she'd be around 6,900 subs. Or followers, excuse me. Getting my YouTube and Twitch lingo mixed up. 8672. Let's keep going till we find S-Fan. 8672 versus 500,000 followers. She's like, hey, 500,000 followers. Come, Samida. Times 100. 1.6%. So she's in the above 1% crowd. But she's the one I was thinking about the most when it comes to streamers having this problem, even if they're big streamers, having this problem. By the way, one of the biggest female influencers in the world, according to Stream Hatchet for 2020. She crept into the bottom of the list. 1.6%. So even still, you're talking 1 to 2% of your audience watching, and she has the PewDiePie effect in play too, having been to various parts of Asia, North America, and Europe, and getting fans in all of those areas of the world. Some of whom can catch your streams better than others because of the time difference. Let's keep going until we get to S-Fan. Kid Boga, I don't know hardly any of them. Healthy Gamer, Dr. K. Hey, why don't we throw this in as well? Dr. K should have something similar to Austin's show because he does more produced shows. 7413 versus 433,000. Also has a huge collab effect because he gives kind of psychological type advice to streamers who go on his show. Times 100. 1.7%. Let's keep going until we get to S-Fan. See, there we go. Game over. That didn't take too long. S-Fan TV. 6744. 6744 divided by 659,000 times 100. 1%. Again, this 1% thing. Now, you can crack all these jokes if you want about, haha, 1%ers, 1%ers, 1%ers. Hey, there's Asmongold's alt channel. Zach Rohr, how's that doing? 5795. We pretty much should stop at this point. I think I've made my point quite clear. Probably closer to 2%, right? 1.7, yeah. Destiny, let's see here. Just hoping to get down to the the other KIRLs and whatnot, but I don't want to be clicking through all of these. I don't want to be clicking through page after page after page, because we got a long way to go. The next group of streamers are down around the 1,000 to 2,000 concurrence mark. So I think we can call it with this right here. Now, I remember the Occupy Wall Street jokes or whatnot about the 99%, the 1%, 1%ers, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to Twitch, 1%ers seems to be something people are saying. Hey, what do you know? The camera needs to be redone as well. It's back on autofocus, and it's autofocus glitching because the polling rate is too high. So let's take it out of focus so it's not twitching half the time. I know this platform is called Twitch, but doesn't mean the camera should be twitching. Something to keep in mind if I crash OBS again. Let's play catch up on alerts if any have come in. No, of course not. It's me. Hey, let's just replay something. But there you go. 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. You can crack all the 1%er jokes you want, but because of the limitations of live streaming, you're talking about that small amount of the audience that is tuning in to these streamers at any given point. And this is really where we have to get to something important when it comes to this stuff. And that is this. So, when recently I've done comparisons between YouTube partner and Twitch affiliate, one of the biggest things I've noticed as I've gone over my own numbers since becoming an affiliate is that when you sign up for these programs, you are signing yourself up to essentially experience the limitations of the platform that you're getting monetized on. So, when Twitch decides to focus almost entirely on live, your experience is going to be constantly crashing into the limitations of live streaming. It's not like on YouTube where you could stream a little and make some videos, and the videos will pick up viewers in between when you're streaming, and you'll grow your audience that way if they're tuning in when you're live. So because of this, focusing on stream growth is an easy way to stress yourself out more than you need to. Little wonder so many of the people out there that I see talking about growing your stream have some element of narcissism issues. Whether they use social media in a way where they're constantly bragging about what they're doing or something, or the way they act on camera, or the way they act off camera. Because you would have to be really full of yourself and ignore basic truths like this in order to feel like you could go around bragging because you found a way to take yourself from 20 concurrence to 30 concurrence. The truth is, whenever you're dealing with numbers, numbers by themselves are never as important as what's in them. Never. And in the case of more concurrence on Twitch, there's a lot that goes into that a lot of people aren't thinking about. And a lot of it is tied to the limitations of live streaming itself. I think a lot of these angry Twitch affiliates that I see picking fights on Twitter would be a lot less angry if they were doing this on YouTube. And let's also not forget, again, platform differences. For the angriest of the small streamers on Twitch, the people that grind away for affiliate, that I've posted links to their various tweets and whatnot, and the people who try and make it, who during the Monster Cat fiasco tried to make it like it was some wonderful accomplishment because it took them years to become a Twitch affiliate because they weren't getting concurrence. These people, let's not forget, there is such thing as bad streams on Twitch when you're trying to go for affiliate or partner. because they hold you back, and they count as a 30-day soft ban from your advancement, essentially. It doesn't exist on YouTube when it's about watch time, and whoever watches, live or after the fact, contributes to your goal to get YouTube partner. By making the business decisions that Twitch has made, as we saw at GlitchCon, and as we've seen with the site design and the experience of using this platform, these business decisions are part of the Twitch culture, essentially, because people don't think about this stuff. And they don't realize that they're just kind of being taken for a ride because of decisions that the brass at Twitch have made to keep the platform almost exclusively focused on live, not so much on videos. Well, that's going to have consequences, because live streaming has weaknesses. And if you want to see these weaknesses for yourself outside of the Twitch environment, follow a bunch of big creators on YouTube and watch them stream to way lower concurrence than their subs. It seems like it's almost an embarrassment for them to stream because they're big YouTubers polling numbers that are more in line with itty-bitty Twitch affiliates. The difference, of course, there is a difference in the size of the platforms. We all know that, I think. But just to see that, it's like they're making themselves look bad. That it's easy to think that. But the truth of the matter is, live streaming has its issues, and these YouTubers making themselves look bad are running into those issues. And so I would go so far as to say, we are heading towards a day and age where if you call yourself a streamer, you give away that you're limiting your potential. And you're hamstringing yourself in terms of being a content creator. Because streaming has its weaknesses. You don't want to be defined by them or have your content get held back by them. That's our show. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.